Peace and prosperity be unto all who's listening and watching. It's your girl, Shaeranea, right? And I'm back with another video. So I just want to talk to you guys. I'm not going to make a really long video, but I just want to talk to you guys about my work experience and how I know for a fact that I will not be working for somebody for the rest of my life. I do not plan to work for somebody for the rest of my life. I started working very young in my life, maybe like 14 or earlier. And my first job was at a daycare. And I worked there. I was in alternative school. So let me think. Alternative school, that was like 9th, 10th, and 8th grade. So I was pretty young then. And I was like, it was kind of like, it was a job, but it was like a volunteer job work. I still got a paycheck. It was like my very first paycheck working at daycare. I had a lot of advantages growing up, even though I was a trouble youth myself. I stayed in a lot of trouble. But when I was in alternative school, they taught me so much. Compared to public school, I learned so much from being in alternative school. And I don't think alternative schools get enough credit for the things they actually do. They get a bad rep because kids that public schools can't work with or don't fully understand how to educate, because not everybody who goes to alternative school is bad. Most kids who really just can't be in a public school go to that alternative school sometimes. It really depends on the kind of person they are. If the kid's getting bullied and picked on, then, they might want to go to an alternative school. It's smaller. We all work together. It's, that stuff don't go in alternative schools. It's a lot more stricter than public. But my first job was daycare, and I loved and enjoyed working around children. And I never really had a passion for it, but I was working around infants. But I was just always a good worker. And then my next job was like janitorial work. I used to, fix up old buildings and fix up this old school, put things back together. I'm really somebody who just enjoys using my hands. Like, I love to create and I love to build things. So, janitorial work or just like building a house or putting things together or welding, that's more me than working at the job I work now. But yeah, daycare was pretty awesome. And then I did some janitorial work for a while. And then I switched over to McDonald's. That was like my third job. McDonald's. It was a pretty good job starting out. And then like I left McDonald's, and then because I was, maybe I was like, I needed my experience at jobs, so I jumped around from job to job. So I would never literally stay at a job longer than 5 months. After I've learned what I needed to learn, I get bored and I have to move on, because I have a learning thing about myself that after I learn something, I get bored with it. And that's why you got to keep yourself in a interest state. Like, what makes this interesting? Keep yourself at a point of learning, because if you're not learning, if you're not improving, if you're not growing, you can easily get bored with something, whether it's your relationship, your livelihood, your job, anything in your life. If you're bored and it's not interesting you, it's not growing you, it has no mystery behind it, then you're gonna either leave it, misappreciate it, or neglect it. And I used to just jump from job to job. I worked at Some Chicken for a while. I really enjoyed that. It was a positive environment. I didn't have really many troubles at that environment. I work at this one job. It's called Husqvarna. It's very popular. It's kind of like those chicken plants, but it's not a chicken plant. They make like backpack blowers and lawnmowers, and you work on a line. You like put screws in backpack blowers and lawnmowers and chainsaws. And I worked every line except line 2 and line 2 was my line. But I worked every line but line 1, and I worked pack out. And that's the thing I learned about being a good person, a good worker. I learned early on in work experience when I used to jump around from job to job that people are more likely to misappreciate you if they know you have great abilities. If they know you're a good worker and you can get things done quickly and you're somebody who comes to work on time and do this and this, they will misuse you. Hide your abilities from people, because people would use those abilities and constantly ask you to be the one to step up. Why should I be the only one stepping up? That's what I always hated about working for other people, working for people in general, because they will always put your mental stability, your well-being, your health in jeopardy. Like, they don't consider the fact that these lazy people need to step up. They want you to step up. And you already stepped up to the plate. So why should I step up 1,000 times more than I'm already stepping up? I used to be a security guard at Cooper Tire. I like when it comes to experience and jobs and stuff, I just done them. I just preferred to do them. I used to work 3 jobs at one time, and I learned from working like that, working when I was like early 18, 19, because like early, like when I started out working, it wasn't a big deal. But when I got like 17, 18, 19, 20, early 20s, I started to realize like I was working real hard, going nowhere fast. And like, though I was working 3 jobs and getting like 3 incomes, and I was doing my best to get somewhere, I was going fast, but I was getting nowhere fast, if that makes sense. And my health and my body was just slowly breaking itself down, and I was making myself even tighter than I needed to be. So eventually I started to work 2 jobs and let go 1, and eventually I started to work 1 job, and I eventually just stayed at 1 job for a long period of time. So I've been at the same job for the past 3 years, and I honestly can say I'm a workaholic. Honestly, if I'm not working my mind, if I'm not working this body, if I'm not working these hands, helping people in some way that is profoundly suitable and valuable in the society for my purpose, then it's useless to just do nothing. It's useless to say that I'm bored and do nothing. I'm someone who is very active in my ways to help people. I don't really let people in on what I do and who I really am. I let people know a little bit about me, and I keep the rest to myself. Now, if I feel people are worthy to know a little bit more about me, I let people know a little bit, just a little bit, just a little taste about who I am. But I don't let people fully in, because not everybody who gets fully in appreciates the effort that it took me to become the woman that I am today, and the work experience that I've gotten, and all the information I obtained through the hardships and heartbreak and the pain and the things that I've endured in my life. And not everybody's going to appreciate that. So I am very selective about people in my life and who I tell my story to. My story is important, but you don't need to know all my story. You can know some of my testimony. You don't have to know all my story. Every detail of my story doesn't belong to everybody. And that hit differently when you know you loved by the people you actually tell your story to. Now, everybody's not going to love you, and you do have to give your testimony. You do have to tell your story. But you don't have to tell your whole story. Not everybody needs to know the whole book. Some people need to work up and show their worthiness of being able to see that story of you. Okay? So, yeah. I always got mistreated as an employee. Seriously, I always got mistreated as an employee. It's like, it's not enough good workers. It's not enough good staff and people who want to come to work and people who actually enjoy the work. And it's not enough employers who make the job enjoyable and make the environment worthy of coming to. So the energy, not only do the people hate going to work, the employer doesn't make the environment or the establishment that we go to enjoyable or suitable for our physical health, mental health, and all that good stuff. It's just like people get to a point where they care so much about money and how well they're doing as an establishment, they lose track of how the employee's doing as employees, like people, humans, not aliens, people who have real emotions and really work for you and got you to reach your goal of your major success. Like, it took people helping you get there. Like, people worked your lines, people made your food, people worked for you. Like, it wasn't you doing it on your own. Like, even though you were the CEO, you still had to have, employees to get you there. So I don't really see why employers don't appreciate their workers, especially their good workers, people who come on days that they don't really have to work, and just being a help when you have no help. And I just always felt at all my jobs, that I just felt misappreciated. I just never felt that my value was truly valued, and that my substance that I had to offer was always greatly taken for granted. And it's hard being a good person. It's hard being a good worker. And you know what? I've actually, I take up for men all the time. Like, I'm not trying to bash anybody, and I'm not trying to bash women, but y'all some lazy fools, okay? Especially men. I've worked in industries and I've done different things, but I can't stand a man who nags, complains, and a man who will leave, who doesn't, like, I don't understand a man who come to work and not want to work. Like, what? Why are you here? And I think about it, I'm just like, I'm so glad I never had to depend on no man. Look, and it's a sad concept to think about, because I don't want to necessarily depend on nobody, but it's like, it makes you, when you see things in society based on experience, you like, man, these men just make you think like, are they all like that? But I don't think like that. I'm just saying, like, men being lazy is a bad concept in itself. Like, it's some lazy women too. Women thinking they could just sit at home and be home wives. And I'm not judging anybody, but I'm just saying, it's going to take two people being hustlers in the home, because at the end of the day, he gets sick. Who's going to take care of the family? You're going to have to hustle just as hard as him. We live in a society where money is hard to obtain. You guys can't just live like that old modern day mindset. We're no longer at that place. Don't make a man work too hard if he's a good man. And don't misuse a woman if she's good. And if you got good employees, treat them special. Treat them right. Because they don't really exist. Okay? They don't exist. So, yeah. But I don't really believe that I'm going to... I know. Not that I believe that I know that I'm not going to be an employee all my life. Like, I plan to work for myself, because I love myself, okay? I love myself. I treat myself very good. And the society around don't treat me that way. And since I have a good heart, that doesn't mean that kindness can be taken for granted. And that like those memories of, past employers, and whether it's current, past, it doesn't even matter. Any kind of experience of pain or being mistreated or unappreciated, overlooked, or just unvalued of your genuine who you are, it can make you like mad, or like it can make you not care, okay? But since I'm compassionate and caring, it doesn't change. So, despite those facts, I still am a lovable person, and I'm easy at forgiving. So, I just believe that, working for employers is just not for me. And being a full-time entrepreneur is what I'm pursuing. Is why I work so hard. And I am very diligent about the things that I'm doing. And I care about people. I genuinely care about people. Not for what I can get from them. Not what they can do for me. I genuinely care about the well-being and, mental stability, spiritual contentment of people. Like, money has no substance in what people have. And I just don't understand why the world is the way it is. Now, I don't want to go too deep on these concepts because, no one fully understands why the world is the way it is. Though we get the free will to choose the things that we choose, it still never justifies all the stuff that goes on in the world. Like, I know there's a lot of people in the world, but even though all the people in the world have free will to choose and make decisions that they make, all these things are not justifiable in my eyes and would never be okay. Honestly, if you have good workers and good people in your life, you should treat them better. Treat them good. And I always felt the way I treat people how I treat myself. I love people how I love myself. I respect people how I respect myself. So I'm a true reflection of how I treat me. And if I treat you badly, I treat myself badly. But naturally, I'm too far beyond that level. Like, I'm no longer in a place of hurt, and I'm no longer in a place of hurting people. So I no longer hurt others. And I never intentionally ever hurt people. So if I ever did, I apologize. I mainly might have hurt people by ignoring them or neglecting what they were saying, but keeping people from at a distance. But I never just intentionally hurt people. Yeah, entrepreneurship is hard and it's up and down, but it's totally worth it. I get up, I'm motivated to go to work sometimes. It's so draining working and doing things that you don't love. But the biggest thing that I've taken from this stuff is just like the very thing that you dislike, the very thing that is like draining you and like making you feel like you're unworthy is the very thing that's going to help you get there. And I know it's tough to see that. It's hard for me to see that. I'm just like, I'm so sick. Like, and I don't like complaining. So I try to find the good in everything, because though I don't care for working for anybody, though I don't care for getting more experience in the work field in general, I just feel that it's time for me to truly step up for me and be all I can be, because I have some amazing, amazing talents that I don't ever want to go to waste. I spend my time giving value and telling people the truth about things that I've learned, but also things I've experienced. My work experience is pretty great because I know how to do a lot of things because I was willing to put myself in the way of experiencing things. But also because I love to learn and I love knowledge and I love to expand myself. And I'm always putting myself in a position of learning. It's why I could never keep a job for more than 5 months. Because even though I can learn a job within like 2 to 3 weeks, I would want to like, on my resumes, I will at least have it like on there and say I've worked there like 5 months. Like, you don't want to just jump around from job to job like this. I at least kept it like 5 months. But I don't work like that anymore. I don't work like a workaholic. I do have one job and I work at McDonald's. And though I don't fully see a future with that, I do appreciate what working at McDonald's allows me to do. I don't like to say too much, but, you know, it's a lot of big-time employers that should really consider how they treat their employees, you know, or the way they go about things sometimes, and how it affects the people, because the way things affect us in the environment is the way that the experience of the customer may experience us, and what we experience is going to be the experience of the customer when they come, because sometimes people, you can't fight nature. We are creatures of habit, and we are a reflection of our environment. You know what I'm saying? So whatever happens around us or happen to us, we sometimes project that stuff. And I just want people to be mindful that even though the world may take you for granted, and employers and jobs may take you for granted, and loved ones may take you for granted, That doesn't mean you have to take yourself for granted, that you have to take things for granted, that you have to be like the world. Be different. No matter what happens, no matter how this world make you feel, just make sure that you stay true to yourself, because ultimately that's what matters most. It hurts. It really does hurt, okay? Being the only one who works hard, you never feel what you're doing is enough, because you feel like you've done so much, and you like, in my head sometimes I'm like, God, don't you see how hard I work? Don't you see how much I appreciate the things you allow me to do, how much I take care of the things that you've given me? And all these people around me like, don't. And I'm just like, and I just don't understand sometimes. But I don't like to dwell over stuff or linger about things that I can't change. But stay true, stay good to you, and love people, and be the reflection of how you treat yourself. Because if you respect and love and treat yourself well, you can love and respect, treat others well too. So remember that though things are hard in life, the hardships and the struggles are what makes you a better person, and they create your character and make you the amazing person you are today. So comment, share, like this video, and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you enjoy this content. Love you guys.